Welcome to the Progress Masterclass. So, the intent is for you to understand why and how it's so important to track, as well as picking the right one for you, the right method. Because there's lots of different ways to measure progress, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is something that is not going to destroy our mental health in the process, because we know that that's also a huge challenge. So, these are the ways that I typically measure progress with clients, whether we're using the scale, a method of measuring body fat percentage, if you have access to it, of course, progress photos, tape measure, clothing, or like a belt loop, how many holes you have left on your belt, um, and then performance. So that could be gym performance, that could be all kinds of different things. But it's important to pick one because you want to be able to note and track how your body is changing over time, and especially how your relationship with your body is changing over time. But like I said, we don't want to do this at the cost of your mental health. So when we step on the scale, there are certain things that are going to make this better for us and some things that are going to make it harder for us. Um, Only use the scale if the number on the scale is not going to massively mess with your head. Because if you are strength training, there are things like, a great workout might show you a little bit more inflamed and you might see the scale be up a little bit. And that's okay. It's just a temporary thing. But here are your best practices. You get on the scale first thing in the morning, and it's the same time every single time. Whenever you get on the scale, it's going to be the same exact time. You've gone to the bathroom, ideally 1 and 2, because then you can kind of make sure that you're at a real baseline in your body. Do it naked, because then you don't have to worry about trying to find the same outfit every time you weigh in. You can do it one of two ways, either daily or weekly. If you decide to do it daily, those first two rules are going to be super important. If you decide to do it weekly, those first two rules are going to be super important, but also you have to do it on the same day each week because your lifestyle is going to change over the course of the week. Monday is usually a very different day than Sunday or Thursday. Your weight on the scale will fluctuate. It will go up, it will go down. That happens naturally, and these are things that will cause it to fluctuate. If you drank a ton more water the day before, you ate a bunch more salt, you ate a bunch more carbs, and especially if you ate a bunch of carbs and had a hard workout, those together will make you a little bit more inflated the next day, but that'll all be gone by either later that day or the next morning. So this is where you can track data points over the course of the week or the month and see how your body is fluctuating, but also trending down. And alcohol. Alcohol just leads to more inflammation. It can reduce your sleep quality, and so ultimately can lead to you feeling like you step on the scale. And if you've had a heavy night of drinking, the next morning you're probably not going to feel, you're not going to be as light as you were unless you had to pay a visit to the bathroom. So your body fat percentage is something that can be incredibly powerful to track if you have access and also if it's not going to mess with your head. Quick side story, when I had first lost all of the weight that I had, I was obsessed with doing the InBody, which is like a scale that sends an electrical current through your feet and your hands and measures how much body fat percentage you have. I did it twice a week, and if it went up at all, I would freak out, do a bunch more cardio, and reduce my calories. So I would not recommend that strategy at all. But if you're somebody who can just look at the numbers and go, okay, and then move on, the InBody is a great tool. You can print out the report and just keep it for yourself. And I used to do this for my clients all the time. DEXA scan is the most accurate way to do this. It's also more costly, more time consuming. So in that case, you might just do it monthly if you really, really want to. Skin fold measurements, as Pikachu is showing us here, it's the least comfortable and probably most sensitive version of body fat percentage. It's also the least accurate and requires somebody who knows what they're doing. So it is something that you can do, though. There are scales that you can do this at home, but they are far easier to trick. So if your body fat percentage varies wildly from measurement to measurement, it's easy to do that on a home scale. So best practices, you don't want to be drinking or eating food 1 to 2 hours before bedtime because the electrical impedance, the signal that goes through your body, will speed up or slow down depending on how much water or food is in your belly. Um, and so food tends to show as body fat and water tends to show as muscle mass. Again, if you can do it at the same time every time, having gone to the bathroom, maybe only do this monthly because it's going to fluctuate a lot depending on how much water is in your system. So again, very similar things that can make this one fluctuate can throw off and create more error. With the addition of artificial enhancements, um, if you got that BBL or you have breast implants or muscular implants, those are things that can show up as body fat. And I would highly recommend not doing anything with electrical impedance if you have a pacemaker. And by highly recommend, I'm just don't. There are better ways. Progress photos can be incredibly powerful if you use them correctly. So as you can see from left to right here, some of these best practices have not been followed, but you can see that she's using the same outfit every time. Lighting is not as consistent. And I mean, I will tell you, beneficial lighting can show you amazing things, and bad lighting can show you things that you really don't want to see. Save these photos in a locked folder. You can send them to me as your coach, or you can just keep them for yourself and review them, but don't review them that often. The more you look at the pictures, the more you're likely to pick out things that haven't changed versus noticing things that have. Try to do the same pose, smile or don't. I just don't like to see like when one person takes their before photo and they're like looking super morose, and then they take their after photo and they have this huge smile on their face, but it kind of looks manufactured. If you're stoked, if you're unhappy in the first photo and stoked in the second, that's fine. I'm definitely not judging you for being pumped that you're making progress. I just want you to know that like you are awesome as you are. Um, and at the end of whatever effort you're putting in, you are also awesome. Any progress you see in the photos is not a measure of your self-worth. And then the last thing is really don't overanalyze the pictures. Don't pick them apart. Just take the pictures and put them away. All right. If you're really excited about it, share it with somebody you care about. But ultimately, these pictures are for you. Using a tape measure can be really, really great in terms of seeing how your body is shifting composition as well as curves, because ultimately, like when you are doing more strength training, your glutes might grow a little bit and your waist might shrink a little bit. And so we'll see that your hip to waist ratio will improve over time. So making sure that you're measuring just above the belly button, right at that narrowest point, and then the hips are going to be at the widest point. So you want to divide your hips by your waist. Sorry, waist to hip ratio, not hip to waist ratio. So divide your waist by your hips, and um, that's going to show you your number. So the other side is chest circumference, measuring just under your armpits, kind of right around nipple line, is another good place because that's a place that we tend to hold onto body fat. So another good place to measure if you want to do this method. Again, try to control as many of the variables as you can. So the same time every time, in the same position each time, and do this on a weekly basis. It's not something you have to do every day because it's going to fluctuate. And especially if you do it in the morning on one day and the evening on another, more often than not, you are going to be more bloated in the evening than you are in the morning. Highly recommend doing this in the morning. So belt loop and clothing. This is one that's a little bit more subjective, but it's also the least, I would say, opportunity for self-deprecation because people tend to beat themselves up pretty hard over some of this stuff, especially when the number on the scale isn't changing as fast as you might want it to. But the way your clothes fit can be a huge indicator of progress. So whether you're moving over one belt loop or you're in between two belt loops and you're progressively making that smaller, that's awesome. Or if the way that your favorite pants fit changes. So, you can see her poses a little bit different again from side to side, but where the pants are tight for her from the left to the right are completely different. So when she's super excited about these pictures because her quads are bigger, her waist is smaller. So making sure you take note on how the clothes fit. Don't just put them on and go, "Oh, this is different," or "Oh, this didn't change." Take notes because it may change in one spot faster than it changes in another. And you may notice that you make a lot of progress in a specific spot first. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as spot reduction in terms of body fat. So, how your body changes is going to be very specific to you. If you want to, you can take pictures in the clothes and kind of, again, save those as progress pictures. Um, Try the pants on weekly, try the shirt on weekly. So, other alternatives to your favorite pair of pants. I've had a client who really wanted to fit back into her wedding band because she had gained some weight after her fourth kid and could not couldn't fit her wedding ring anymore. So that was a huge measure of progress for her to be able to just slip her wedding ring right back on. Belt loop, like I said, glove size is an interesting one. I've had a client who felt like her hands were too big. And little by little over the course of her weight loss, she was able to fit a smaller glove. Um, and then t-shirt. So you pick your favorite item of clothing, and it could be a onesie, and take notes on how it fits. Performance. So this is one that is going to change the fastest out of all of this progress. So you can see here, this is a text that I got from a client. She went on a hike with her friend last weekend. Her friend does Orange Theory multiple times a week and was dogging it through some of the hills, and she was not. So the coolest thing with this person is she's got such severe injury history that to see this, not only was she feeling good in her body, but she was actually outperforming somebody who does arguably a lot more work. So more is not necessarily better if better is better, right? So tracking the number of adventures, the time it takes before you start to feel tired, the rounds in your sustainable 60 workouts, how many you're getting through in your 10 minutes, the time spent sitting at the playground. So if you go to the playground with your kids and you're sitting there on the bench the whole time because you're too tired to get up and play with them, that can be something that you could, as soon as you sit down, put on a timer and see how long it takes you to stand up. I promise you, if you have that timer on, you're going to be getting up faster than you think. And then times you made it to the gym, because sometimes just getting to the gym and starting is a huge measure of progress when you just haven't been. So, quick reminder, progress is not linear. It will fluctuate as you go, as you continue to get stronger or lose weight, all of that stuff. Like, it doesn't just, like, your weight doesn't just drop linearly, and your strength and your performance doesn't just increase linearly. So, it won't necessarily be a smooth curve, but you are still making progress. So, we have to think long term and act short term. What I mean by this is we have a goal that's well beyond the next 60 days, right? The acting short term is knowing that these steps that you are taking on a daily basis are adding up to the thing. So that doesn't mean changing course on a daily basis. It means committing to these small steps every day, because knocking out these small steps every day is progress in of itself. So one way to continue to make the choices that are going to help you succeed in this Sustainable 60 program is the mantra, what action will I be proud of in the morning? So what action would you be proud of in the morning? Are you staying up late to watch your show or scrolling on your phone, or are you going to bed and knocking out? Because you know that improved quality of sleep is going to be incredibly important for your energy. choosing Greek yogurt and berries instead of Ben and Jerry's, right? Having a little bit of a sweet treat with some Greek yogurt, some honey, and some berries is a lot lower calorie than Ben and Jerry's is, as delicious as Ben and Jerry's is. Only watching one episode instead of three when you put on Netflix at the end of the night, because you ultimately need to go to sleep. And I know that you're trying to take back the time from your kids, but like, you need to be able to rest if you want your body to progress through this. Just track your food, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not exactly like, if you're feeling like you don't want to do it and you're judging what you ate, just track it, because it's all just data. There's no point in agonizing over one meal versus another, as long as overall the choices you're making are moving you in the direction you want to move. 10 minutes of cardio instead of skipping it, unless you're doing 10 minutes of skipping, which is great cardio. But 10 minutes, like, if you're between doing the workout and not doing the workout, do the workout. You'll feel better afterwards, even if you just start with 10 minutes of it. I had a client this week just thank me for giving her that freedom to just do the 10 minutes. Start at 10 minutes. If you decide to stick around, great. If you don't, you did 10 more minutes than you would have done. So ultimately, how you word this, how you phrase this in your own head is either winning or beating yourself up. If you have time, go to the gym. Don't wait till later. The laundry doesn't require you to go anywhere special unless you're doing it at a laundromat. But if you're doing laundry at home, it's still going to be there. And I know that that can be depressing, but ultimately you're going to be far more equipped to tackle it if you've done your workout already. So what will you decide to track? So I understand decision fatigue is real. It's so exhausting, and you're constantly making choices over the course of your day. I do need you to track something, because I want you to be proud and have lots of different things to celebrate over the course of this challenge. So I've created a resource for you. We're going to call it the S60 Progress Tracker. And in that, you can track any of these things: scale weight, body fat percentage. Just check the box if you've taken progress pictures. There's a couple places to make notes about like what outfit you use and stuff like that. Hip to waist ratio, chest circumference, whether or not you did your clothing check, the number of adventures you went on, time spent sitting at the park, time before getting tired, rounds completed of your S60 workouts, or anything else that you want to use to track your progress. So it's a spreadsheet that goes out all 12 weeks, and you can go through and log whatever data you want on that week, because as long as you check something over the course of the week, we will have data to say that you have continued to make progress. So I would recommend doing the same thing each time. I would also recommend choosing a numerical one as well as a slightly more qualitative one, whether that's your workouts or your belt loop or clothing check or, something like that. So you have you can keep racking up wins instead of finding yourself obsessing over one specific metric. All right. And the link for that is in the school post. So all you got to do is click the link and make a copy for your own Google Drive, and you'll be able to populate this yourself. All right. I'm already proud of you. You're here, you're putting in the work, and imperfect action is better than inaction. Have a wonderful day.